the last time we did this was in 2020, right? December 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, December 2020.
Yeah, that was during the
That was
pandemic
so
and
long
everything.
ago.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's interesting though. And Melanin Travels Magic has advanced, progressed. Congrats, actually, you just won
Thank you.
2 awards.
Not won. I'm awarded. I'm nominated.
Oh, nominated. Yeah,
So
you nominated for the 2 awards.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Decision in August and September.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're crossing finger.
Oh, okay. Okay, before we jump right in, if I get ahead of myself, for people who don't know, tell us about Christina and Melanin Travels Magic.
Hi everyone, my name is Christina Belloge. I'm French Caribbean, born in Paris, originally from Guadeloupe, also British since 3 years now. And how do you say? So I guess my background is in marketing and business development. I'm a serial expat because I lived in UK, France, Germany, Netherlands, and also in Guadeloupe. I'm a frequent traveler. I've traveled nearly 46 countries soon.
Oh, wow.
Among 9 African ones, because I'm going to do Ethiopia soon, but quickly as a stopover. I'm still passionate about travel. Passionate about African dance. I don't know what can I say. And learning languages, and since I was a kid, I wanted to live abroad, have an international career. And actually, we met nearly 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's almost like a joke at this point.
God. It's like,
yeah.
During the pandemic, when I was just starting, I was super optimistic because I thought the pandemic would last 2 months. It lasted 2 years. It was a crazy moment, moment of reflection, moment of I think 6 months of unemployment for 15 million people here. I was doing personal development, so I decided to take 6-7 courses like finance, how to do group trip, to occupy myself. And because of BLM movement and after George Floyd murder in UK and worldwide, I think there was a big consciousness about Black people need to own businesses, legacy businesses. They need to serve their community. They need to do something for each other, basically. So I was like, instead of creating another media agency that's not going to change the world, let me delve into one of my passion, which is travel. And because in 8 years before, I've done about nearly 20 Black Nation, I was like, let's push for what I know, what I love. And also because when I've been to Ghana, it started with me investing in my Ghanaian guide business because it was his first time going on himself, basically. And I believe in him, he believed in me, and we start like that. So that's why the first I wanted to do like everyone and do group trip. I was trying to push for Ghana, Brazil, then there was lockdown, red countries, vaccination. The whole thing was just like disheartening. And for 1 year and a half, we didn't really trade. We just were doing like virtual tour, and I was doing mostly content marketing. So lots of interviews, podcasts, travel writing, written interviews to promote the business, promote the vision. And suddenly in June 22, everything exploded. Not exploded, but start to pick up. First through referral, through my French Congolese friend who believed in me. And then doing advertising a bit. And then it was word of mouth. And also because I'm in a lot of diaspora networks. And then the role has been bowling because I think we got the corporate one through LinkedIn. People, just find us online. So I've done my job well.
Yeah,
so I was like,
exactly.
I was like, good. All those hours, they paid off.
Yeah.
And our first specialty was and still Black heritage and culture, because we want people to reconnect in Black nations. When I say Black nation, it's Africa, the Caribbean island. Also, I consider Brazil and some part of Latin America, because there's a huge Black heritage there. Brazil is actually the first diaspora in the world, because it's twice the Afro-American size. So yeah, it's nearly over 100 million people. So and also most of them have Yoruba and Angolan heritage. So they kept their culture, which is I haven't been to Salvador. I've been to Rio, but I met people from Salvador, and you see it. They're very proud. They also they kept even the religiosity. They kept everything, the food. So it's amazing to see, because yeah, they haven't, their culture and heritage has not been wiped out after them. Contrary to other population, like in the Caribbean, we had to reconstruct ourselves and develop a new identity. And more recently, we're growing. We've been nominated for 2 awards, and how do you say? I'm trying to get funding. All the stories, because we want to keep on moving, you know.
You mentioned the business started picking up in 2022.
Yeah, when the tourism has been recovering.
Yeah. So how does you being, or MTM being nominated for 2 awards, how does that make you feel
I'm
at
so
this
proud.
point? Yeah. All right.
I'm proud.
As you should be. Yeah.
Yes, I'm proud and happy.
Yeah.
You don't know, because it's been how do you say? It's been a journey. The reality is, when I first started, I had everything against me because of COVID. You know, the world was on standstill for 2 years, so I could have had a big reason to give up and say, "Oh, you know what? It's not for me. Wrong time."
Yeah.
Also, at that time, I had 60 rejection. You know,
Oh,
because you don't have branding, nobody knows you. I've done a course and I thought, yeah, it's okay. You just pop up and, you know, people will follow. No, it's not like that. There was so much criticism. There was so much rejection, distrust, all kind of stories. And then I realized also, for group trip, it was not the right time, because nobody wanted to share a room with a stranger, which I didn't thought about. So everyone was like distrustful of anybody, you know. So it was
I can
like
imagine.
all
Yeah.
the odds were against us. And then also Ghana changed the policy and put vaccination mandatory. There was all kind of stuff. And I was like, you know, I felt like the whole world was against me. Government against me. And then I was like, okay, maybe I should give up. And then because I was working with my Ghanaian guy, he was pushing me, saying, "No, Chris, we should not stop. We should continue. One day you'll see, we'll grow. You'll be where you want to be." And I was like, yeah, man. Just want to, you know, when you have the blank page, you want to tear it down.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
In the bin. And it was, the story I tell, the American way, is from 60 rejection to 160 client.
Oh, wow.
So it's a long journey of resilience, persistence. Also, you know, you lose friends or people you thought you were your friends. But at the beginning, at the beginning, there was jealousy and all kind of thing. And I was so shocked, because I was like, I know those people since 10, 15 years. What's wrong with them? And they tell you, who do you think you are? You think you're above us? And then I was like, wow. Or you're doing a virtual tour, you invite them to, how do you say, like, support you, and they start to send you nasty stuff on WhatsApp. And then
wow.
I was like, what the hell is this?
Money does change. Actually, it's not just money. I think
there was
it's
no
just
money.
success.
It was the beginning.
Yeah,
There was
success,
no
I
money.
think. Yeah.
It's just because I was doing interviews and they were jealous, because they were like, why you? Why you?
Yeah.
And I was born before you.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
I think they saw the chance of you succeeding, and basically you succeeding at that point, and I think that's something a lot of people may not be comfortable with.
Yeah, that's what I understood. I understood that people don't like you to move on, or go above them, because even my brother was nasty. It was like, oh, you're gonna get sued and lose everything.
Yeah.
What the hell? I just started, man. And it's like, you had those weird reaction, and you're like, okay, interesting. I'm not even there. I just started. I just, registered the name. But you're already predicting me that. Interesting.
Okay.
So,
yeah, what you've already mentioned a couple of them. This included. What would you say have been like your some of the challenges, some challenges you've encountered, especially since I'm saying that a lot of your clientele are Black as well. I think we briefly talked about this some
yes.
other time, but yeah. But like, what challenges have you faced,
Yes. I
and
mean,
how have you dealt with it so far, though?
okay, so obviously, the one which are not my clients, I could say the one who are not my clients. The big challenge was trust. Some people talk to you, they don't have money, and you're like, so why are you? It's like you going to the supermarket and say, I can't buy anything, but let me enter. So it's a bit. There was challenge of education, challenge of trust, challenge of finding who can afford you. And at the beginning, I was not expensive in the sense, like for my friend who tested me, I started with a low tariff, very low tariff, to have reviews. That's the way to do it, right? But you still have comments, unsupportive comments like, oh, why have you launched that? Are you going to steal my money?
Oh wow.
Yes. Or so many. That's where the 60 rejection come from. It's like so much distrust, nasty comments, no encouragement. And you're like, so who's those people who say invest in Black business? Who are those? Because I could not find them at the beginning. And I was interesting. Okay, this is the way it's gonna be. And then I saw some people who believe, and what I understood is some people don't like to be the first. That's what I understood, because they come like 3 or 4 years after, saying, "Oh, it's great everything you've done," and you're like, "But you had the opportunity from day one. Why didn't you?" So you have all this that I've underestimated was the fact that people don't trust first starter, I would say. Or
do you think that's just because it's a Black business, or do you think that
I think it might be because it's a Black business. I feel like I think it's a cultural thing. I think it's a cultural.
Because you've basically worked across several countries
Yes.
with different businesses. So yeah.
Not all countries are like that, because at the beginning, most of my clients were from Europe and US, but I could not get Black British, for example. So nobody wanted to believe or trustworthy. Yes. So that's what I got. And now it's weird because they're all flocking. So it's weird for me, because I'm like, but I was there 3 years ago. But that's the way it is. And also what I realized, there's different consumer behavior. So that's why I've done a few partnership, because here I think they're more into package holiday. They're not really into conscious tourism, not as much. It's still, what I do is very pioneering in Europe, but in US it's normal. So it's, it's a bit, it's hard sometimes to think, okay, you have this in your head, you push it, and then you're like, people won't follow necessarily. Because you might be ahead of them. There's steps they need to do in terms of, oh, actually, I would bring value to the whole Black economy if I was doing that.
All right, I think that's one of the questions I was going to ask you anyways. It's like, since your clientele are mostly primarily Black diaspora, how does helping them access Black nations improve the countries they are visiting and them as clients?
So from their perspective, I always listen to, their feedback. I send surveys, and even people I know in the industry. For example, I refer them for a trip in Kenya last year. they came transformed because they didn't know, especially the Afro-American, they didn't know there was so much culture in the country. And, they always have kind of, let's say, outdated 70s vision of Africa with huts and wild animals. So, yeah, no, it's true. It's true. So it changes. First, I try to make them patronize Black-owned businesses versus big resort owned by Westerners. And I always put my contact like taxi, stuff like that. So go to restaurant, da, da, da. So to really affect the economy and not stay in one hotel and only see this hotel, and the money is never changing the life of the locals. And also I say, I don't, if you're the person who just want to shake their ass on the beach, you're not for me. You're gonna have some culture, you're gonna have some history, so you're gonna, because it's something I've done myself and it transformed me in the sense, it changed my vision of the way the world works. What I've been taught at school, on TV, Western media really lied to us so many times. And some, like the group trip, they come, what they love is they love for example, the cooking class with the locals because they get interact and they're proactive. And I think people undermine the power of experiences, cultural experiences. Some people only like to travel for the beautiful beach and the hotel and the pool or the drinks, but it's not my crowd because I want you to go out and about, see things differently, interact with the locals, patronize the local taxi because there might not be Uber there, and have conversation and learn from them. We've also last year interviewed a lot of inspiring Black traveler, and we had a mixture of African ones, diasporan ones, and we finished by Afro-American because we wanted to showcase that the Black experience is diverse. And also on the continent, you have people traveling because there's a rise in upper class and middle class. So we showcase Nigerian and Cameroonese. They're the one who travel the most. And we ask them their tips, and they're like us. They have jobs, and they take holidays. So it's to break down all those stereotypes that people have. Oh, there's only poverty. Oh wow, I mean, and it's not true. So you need to go and see for yourself, or you need people which are, let's say, groundbreaking to inform you, to show you what's possible. We also write on trends in African tourism, and because I network across Europe, US, and Africa, we promote them across, and we see that sometimes the reaction we have, I didn't know you have wellness in Africa. Yes, you do. Hello. There's so many spas. So many spas, yoga. There's so many, especially like in Tanzania. There's so much.
Okay.
So it's like it exists, but it's not common knowledge because the narrative is being controlled, let's say, and the tourism industry is shown as wildlife.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're trying to break that, and also that's why I network with African. Several associations, but I joined Clara's group because Clara is a Nigerian. Last year, she invited me to talk. She does a tech and tourism summit. I talk virtually. I was not in Lagos, I wish, but yeah. And she invited me, and I talk about the challenges of, infrastructure for the diaspora in traveling Africa, because that's the major hurdle some have, is they're like, oh, are going to be the roads, and I know, for example, last year we had a big year, so I sent my cousin to represent me in Madagascar because I had to go to the US at the same time for the Black Travel Expo. And the thing he told me is, yeah, country is beautiful, but the roads are awful. And I was like, it's like in Ghana, it's the same. I say, very welcome to Africa, but not all African countries are like that. I was trying, to say, because in Tanzania, most of the roads are new. They're 5-year-old, for example. In Ivory Coast, everything is nice. They have the best road in West Africa. So I said, not every country is at the same level, but when it's an island, you have to be worried that it costs more for them to do roadworks. Because they have to import everything, and also because they haven't recovered yet from COVID. So, they still try to attract a lot of tourists, but they're not there yet. So it's like be patient, be graceful, So it's not, don't expect Europe everywhere you go, So it's like,
I think that's the idea, though. Like you going from Europe to somewhere else is to experience something different, right?
Voila. And it's the same for Afro-Americans. So that's why most of them end up either in Ghana or South Africa or Kenya. They don't give always a chance to other countries because they feel like they're not to their standards in terms of infrastructure. So it's like be graceful. If you go for culture and holidays, go for culture and holidays. If you go for like some of the ladies I've interviewed, two French girls, one French Cameroonese, one French Haitian, one did 1 year in West Africa, 1 year abroad, volunteering in Nigeria. She really enjoyed it. She loved it. And then she toured other Western African countries for 6 months. And the other one did 6 countries in 6 months. She did South Africa, Tanzania, Rwanda, Ghana. And she on purpose did not go to Cameroon because she wanted to see an Ivory Coast. And she ended up in Ivory Coast. She said she wanted to see where she felt the best in Africa. And so she had a career break, she saved money, and she went 1 month in each country, really to slow travel. And I think it's the best way to do it if you have the time and you can commit to it. If you really want to live in repat, because there's this big repat movement, you should scoot. You should go several times and see which country, not just where you will have the best opportunities, but where you will feel the best, and also network with people already set up there. Don't go like that, because I think, especially in Tanzania, too many people did that during the pandemic. They rushed because they wanted to run away from the US, they ran away from the pandemic, but then they had no plan, like no business, no job, and they just end up hanging around for 1 year and a half. So and then they go back and they're disappointed because they expect to be welcome with a red carpet. It's not like that. So so it's deception, and also sometimes people on YouTube lying as well, because I saw so many YouTube channels. My God, and people lie too much on YouTube, because they want the views. So that's why I say you always need to go and check by yourself.
Experience. Before we go on, you mentioned Clara's group, and I wasn't sure what group. You want to expand on that? For people listening, so they know.
It's gonna be a fair mentioner. So Clara group is Africa Tourism Funding. It's a great group because it's Pan-African. So there's Nigerian, South African, Kenyan. I invited people I know as well. So basically promote tourism, but she promotes a lot of funding opportunities for Africans. So I think there's this conception as well that there's no incubator, there's no grant. All this exists also. So I was surprised because I'm part of this group and I discover so much is available. Sometimes it's cross Africa, sometimes it's country specific. And I forward it to, for example, some of my guides in Kenya. They love it. I also discover there's a festival, not just Nollywood one. There's a big art festival in Kenya, which is Pan-African. And all those people promote that. And I also discovered there's a content creator conference, which is happening in September. I'm trying to pray to have the funds to send my intern. Because it was created last year by a Nigerian, and they realized that African needs to own their stories. So it means that in Europe and US, content creators are organized or federated, let's say. They have their own conference, and they exchange knowledge and in Africa, it's not done yet. And because I know a few, I saw that they started to have groups, WhatsApp groups, and talk finally. Because I think to progress, you need to exchange opportunities, you need to exchange training. You know, it's like everywhere. You can't be on your own and progress. You need to have a network. And also, is to break those barriers and mentality of you know, I'm above you, I've succeeded. Yeah, yeah, you know that.
it's
Because
going it's going to be difficult to break that overnight, but
I
okay.
know it's going to take centuries, right? Or
Yeah,
decades. But
yeah.
what I'm proud to see is there are some people who are already doing that.
Okay,
And
all right.
it's my mentality.
Mm.
I'm obviously so happy to be there because yeah, the exchange. We have debate. They talk about AI, you know, because I was like, I'm trying to teach AI to my Ghanaian intern, for example. This last few months, I learned it myself. Now I can't live without ChatGPT, but it saved my life. So it really makes you gain
So
productivity
you're
and
not one of the people who are afraid that ChatGPT is going to take you.
no,
You're okay. All right.
because because initially I won't say I was afraid, but let's remember my background is in digital marketing, so I'm used to change and evolution, and to work online, so I'm not afraid in that sense, even if I see that there's already been a lot of layoff, whether in tech and in marketing, and some people think it's because of AI. I don't think it's 100% because of AI, but I feel that definitely we need to embrace AI to survive. We might be replaced by, you know, the androids. That's another story. But AI is here to stay, and we need to learn to embrace and master it, I think, because um, there's things you won't be able to replace by AI, because some people are like, yeah, tourism's going to be replaced by AI, you know, people going to type for their holiday. I don't think that a certain maybe Gen Z or young ones would do that for like solo trip, but for family group trips, you still need a human touch. You still need someone to coordinate, to project manage,
Yeah.
to negotiate, to call people. People buy from people. I don't think a robot or a software will replace the whole industry. It's
No.
not possible.
But yeah,
So
talking about change. Sorry, I'm talking about change. How do you think the business landscape has changed in that time? Apart from
um,
AI or including AI and everything.
it changed because we went from a standstill, you know, because everything was on lockdown, to then 1 year of thriving and then recession. So it's kind of, it's like we had a whole decade in 4 years. You know, somehow
Yeah.
the economic cycle has been very weird.
All right.
So um, you because I learn and I see from others, and we discuss, we exchange, you know, and even here it's recession as well. So it's like we've seen, yeah, it's like you've seen, I don't know, 10 year in four. That's what I would say, because first you had everything locked down, everything dead, then you have 1 year of good prosperity, and then you have this year is like wavy because
Yeah.
um, a lot of uncertainty on lots of side.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting though. Like do you feel like that's a good experience, like having it's almost like a crash course of how
It
to
is a
manage a
crash
business
course
here?
because I've how do you say? Last year I did like a boot camp for Black female founders,
Yeah.
and there I've learned to pitch, which has helped me tremendously because it helped me be confident presenting what I do, and win some partnership. Because before, people believe what they see, and I come from marketing, so presentation matters.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, just blah 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 blah, and it's not enough. You need to showcase, okay, this is what we've done, this is where we go, da, 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 da. Then people understand she has a vision, but she built the vision, and there is track record. You know, that's different. People take you seriously when they see things. So um, there's, compared to what I've learned in the few weeks course I've done with Nigerian American girl,
Yeah.
it's nothing. It was nothing because she was just showing like how to negotiate, like with suppliers, how to prepare the itinerary. Those things are basic, but no one, for example, teach you how to market your company, how to build your brand, blah blah blah. Thanks God I have a background in marketing that helped me. But and I've done lots of incubator or business workshops. So and I test and learn. Before reaching that stage, I test and learn a lot. I was trying to reach directory, be listed for free then, and then I did media sponsorship, which I was to have our first real client, I had to do media sponsorship because nobody wanted to travel at that time. It was crazy situation.
Yeah. As an established traveler, why? I think you've talked about it a bit throughout. But why should people be interested or even bother to visit anywhere else? Why should people go from, say, from the UK to go visit Africa or Brazil? Why should people do any of those?
So many reasons. So
Okay.
first of all, reconnect. How do you say the fact that you will be more at peace because normally you should not feel like those things that we run away from, like discrimination, racism, etc. So first is to reconnect because I said me, I was lucky. My parents, I used to go every 3 years because it was a benefit of the job of my dad. So I was very connected to Guadeloupe. But I see that, for example, in UK or other countries, they're not as much because flight ticket might have been an hindrance to this, and people are not paid as much. That's what I've realized. So there's a disconnection in the sense they don't embrace as much the heritage because they have not been exposed as much. So that was my first thought. And then now it's more about not necessarily go to your parents' country, but visit others. Like shift yourself from going to Dubai or Spain, and go to Kenya. You're gonna have fun. Go to Tanzania. You're gonna discover a totally the Swahili culture is great. I love it personally. I fell in love with it. But, not just there, but you will see that also you have an impact on how you spend your money. You will see directly. That's what I would say. But I think in the West we might be maybe too whitewashed a bit, so we feel like this is not the first place you will think to go to. While, for example, I had COVID and I was supposed to celebrate my birthday. I've postponed the trip for 6 months. I went to Jamaica. I came back transformed because not only I've done all the rivers possible. It's very spiritual, and also I did the Bath River, so you get to be cleansed with herbs and stuff, and it's like they blessed you. This is a very spiritual thing to do, but I needed it after COVID and all what happened and being locked indoors for 2 years. You need to be outside. You need to be outside. And I was like, being in greeneries is just amazing. It's just, I remember my brain, when I'm in Africa and the Caribbean, my creativity is 100. I can write blog posts nonstop. I have lots of ideas. My mind is not cluttered. I'm free. So I was like, yeah, they need to experience that because my dad used to tell me that and I used to laugh. And he said, no, you need to come back. You need to come back. You need to come back to the Caribbean. You will find yourself. And I was like, he's right. That's right. That's right.
It took you a while to find that.
Yeah, it took me a while to realize because what do you say? First, the food, man. You don't have any digestive problem. Here we're kind of poisoned a bit. Because I realized when I went to Ghana, it's the first country when I came back, I was sick for 1 month. I thought I was pregnant and I was vomiting every day. No, it's true for 1 month. And people were like, what's happening with you? And I said, I don't know. I feel like I had the best food in the world and my system is rejecting the white man food now. It's something my dad used to say, and I was laughing. I was like, what the hell is he saying? And it happened to me after Ghana, and I was shocked. I was like, so this food was so pure, organic and everything that I could not eat bread. I was vomiting after milk. I was like, what's happening? wow, my body's rejecting everything, pasta, everything is like, ugh. It's like,
Oh wow.
wow. That's the first country I had this. And I was it made me realize I'm not eating right here. Because we're always in a rush, we always stress out.
Yeah.
We always, worry about this bill, this. And we don't take the time to exist. We just survive.
Yeah.
We always stressed and survive mode, or working, and the weather is not helping as well. It's not giving us all our vitamin D has been stripped away.
Yeah.
All those things. And I was like, wow, I can't believe. So I always say, how do you say? If you want to find back yourself, it's not just spiritually, mentally, also physically. Because, for example, whenever I go to Africa, I lose weight straight away. I lose 5 kilos, because you sweat a lot, you move around, I drink more water.
Yeah.
You're active and you don't eat stupid stuff or sugary stuff all the time. So everything is fresh. I love Tanzania because everything is they don't have pesticides, so everything is fresh. It's like fresh. It's pure.
Yeah.
So you go, you lose weight, you feel yourself, you feel like you exist, even if, because it's very similar to Caribbean culture. It's very slow motion. Everything is slow, pole pole. And but you come back different person because you do real connection, because here you don't even know your neighbors, they barely tell you hi, so you go back to community centric culture. Because I remember in Tanzania, I twist my ankle, everyone in the city in Stone Town was looking after me. It was
wow.
yeah, it's like, because everyone was like, sorry, when they see me, they're like, what happened? Everyone asked me, and in UK, nobody care, And even to the point, some people I barely know, they offer me ice pack and stuff. And I was like, wow, I was so blessed. I was like, in my demise, I felt like, that's like being in a village where everyone looks after each other. I haven't felt that in years, So I was like, this is possible. We still exist. Yeah, it still exists, but not in the West, basically.
Okay. I actually thought that is starting to die out in even a lot of African countries because of Western influence, and everybody's starting to be individuals by themselves.
Yeah, which is not good, I think, because in fact you still need to have a sense of community to exist, I think.
All right. For people who are interested in traveling, say visiting countries in Africa or Black majority countries, or Black nations like you call them, what advice would you have for them? Especially where to start from. It's okay to plug in Melanin Travels Magic here as well, like.
Okay, great. So, before to plug myself or plug my company, I would say from my own experience, my first African country was Senegal, and it's because I had a friend who set up a guest house, so I felt safe going to a place because I was at least I know someone, especially when you're a solo traveler and you have your dad telling you, you're going to get kidnapped. Because at that time, I think he heard that in Gambia, you had to cross Gambia because it's the middle of Senegal, so you have no choice. And he was like, yeah, I heard they kidnapped a woman in Gambia. You're going to get kidnapped. Don't go. And I would just go, as usual, with my big suitcase. And I'm like, just drop me at the airport. And at the time, God, it was a small airport shoebox. We say you have to wait 4 hours for your luggage because there was only one belt. It was that was that story. Arrived middle of the night. My friend told me, "You're gonna wait 4 hours," and I laughed and I was like, "Ha, yeah, I wait 4 hours." I wait 4 hours.
Wow.
And then we drive for 2 or 3 because he was in a village, but because I mean that's why people like us exist, is also because unfortunately growing up there was this story of let's say kids like me, which are daughter and son of immigrants, don't give you the right portrait of their country. And there was also not so much information available to go and venture on your own if, let's say, you're not white and you're not part of NGO or something like that. So, and nowadays, I guess it's easier with influencer and stuff, but influencer, they usually show you the pretty picture and they don't explain the process. So if you're not confident or it's your first time, either go to people you know, like family, friends, or go through agencies like us where we can plan for you and make sure that you have a guide to make you comfortable at least for the first few days, and then you could do the rest on your own. Because some countries like Brazil, sometimes it's the language barrier, sometimes it's the fact that there's not so much information because the tourism bureaus are absent or non-existent, or they don't see the value of tourism yet. Now I see the change, like Kenya and South Africa are massively investing since last year because they saw Ghana. Everyone wants to emulate Ghana because they saw, oh, this year of return thing works. It works. But you need to spend the dollars in marketing, my friend. So, and make your country tourist friendly, all those things. So whether it's infrastructure, road, hotels, sometimes things exist, but they've not been. Even Rwanda was doing a lot of advertising in France on PSG football clubs. So that's how people got to know about Rwanda. Because before that, we were like, okay, there's been a genocide. Why should we go there? So it's a lot of it has to go through first the local government. They need to realize the potential. They need to do market research, get organized. Because last week I was in the WATO Summit, so it's West Africa Tourism Summit. So now I see that even West Africa is getting organized as a bloc to promote. Why before it used to be individual countries. Because it was led by Gambia, but then it's WATO who speaks. So it's Western Africa as a bloc, try to federate and promote all countries in one go, which is good.
Yeah, that's a good initiative.
That's a good initiative. I think it was well organized, and they were using AI as well because they had a so I was shocked, man. I was like, wow, this is great. So lots of technology going on. I was like, okay, interesting. And you see the willingness to be organized and also to change the narrative, because Gambia obviously is seen as a tourism, sex tourism place, etc. So they're trying to clean up their tourism and federate with other countries sometimes, and to attract better quality of tourists as well. There's all those. So I would say how to first start is either look around. Do you know someone there? If you don't, then go through an agency, because most hurdle, especially for the solos, is like, oh, I don't trust the guide, or I don't know if I see my money. So sometimes they need reassurance that there's a middlewoman who's like a concierge and will mediate if anything goes wrong. That gives the extra confidence, basically. Because if you have never been, you have those stories. Even my American clients, corporate, sometimes they say to me, oh, am I going to be kidnapped at the airport? Hell no, please. Please. It's like, don't do that. So, there's still need for education and reassurance. Right?
Do you have any additional information, comments listeners should know about MTM, about you, about travel? Just go ahead. Do round up at least.
So actually we have two upcoming group trip. We have one in Madagascar in August. We are promoting it for our local partner, and another one which is in Tanzania to trek Kilimanjaro for 1 week. So if you're either a road trip lover or
you're going up Kilimanjaro.
Not me.
Oh, okay.
Not me. That was my dream. This time I'm just promoting for the moment.
Yeah.
It depends if all my situation evolves, because it means I need to do training if I do it.
Yeah.
But for example, in January, I went to Magoroto, so I did camping, hiking in the mountain. So I love it.
Yeah, okay.
No way, it's my street. But yeah, we are trying to push that to showcase also that Black people do those things. Yeah, you know. That also, when it's a group trip, it's a bit cheaper and more accessible. It's a good way to go to Africa, actually, if it's your first time, because the, let's say, hard work is done for you. You just need to show up. Voila.
This episode was produced by me, Chukudi Bara. Subscribe to the Black Side podcast on your favorite podcast platform: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and follow blackside.uk on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, or LinkedIn. Thank you for listening, and catch you on the next episode.